There are three different ways of adding a CSS style to a website or to an HTML document. So we'll be looking at all the three ways in this video. So let's get started. The first way is to add the CSS code directly into the element which we need to style. This is known as inline styling, right? So for example, let us say we want to add a background color to the entire website, which basically means that we'll be styling the body because the body contains everything else inside it. So if we are to add any style which applies to the entire website, we need to add it in the body tag, right? So for adding the inline CSS, what we do is we use the style attribute. There is an attribute known as style which goes inside every single element possible. And here if we want a background color, so we'll type background color a colon, and now for typing the color you can either type the name of the color, for example say cyan, or you can use a 6-digit hexadecimal code for the color, so which basically is RRGGBB, the value of red, the value of green and the value of blue, from 00 to FF, right? Because F is 15 and that is what hexadecimal is, 0 to 15. For now we'll be sticking with normal text. You can add blue, you can add green or whatever you like. Right now I want to add cyan, so I'll do that, and now I'll run the website and you see that we get this greenish background here which is the cyan color. And that is how you add a style to a website using the inline CSS thing, which is basically with the help of the style attribute, right? The second part or the second way of adding CSS is inside the head tag. We use the style tag here, the opening and closing style tags, and inside the style tag we add the CSS code. Now every CSS statement or every style statement is called a CSS rule, okay, and there is a particular format to be followed while typing a CSS rule, and that is we type the name of the tag and we have these curly brackets here, and inside this we write the style code. For example, here we are styling the background color, so we write this particular code here, and now I can delete this particular part because we are adding it inside the style tag here. So this kind of CSS is known as internal CSS. So the first one which we saw in the tag itself was the inline CSS, and this one in the head section and in the style tag we call it internal CSS, right? So now when I save it and I run the website again, we get the exact same thing. To differentiate, let me quickly say green here and refresh it again, so we get this green background. So this was the second way of adding style to the website. The third way is known as external CSS, which basically means that we create a new file along with the rules. So this entire thing along with the name of the tag and the curly brackets and the CSS code is called a rule. Okay, so we paste this in a new file and we save this particular file. Let me make it a bit neat, and yeah, that should do it. So we save this particular file with the .css extension, so let me call it style.css. either you type .css or you select cascading style sheets from this drop down here. There we go, we have cascade style sheet.css, and save it. And to add that file here we need to delete the style section and we use the link tag. Okay, so now the link is a single tag, and here we type the name of the file and its location. So for giving the location of the file we use the href attribute, and I'm calling it style.css, so I'll mention style.css. Again, since the file style.css is saved in the exact location where our HTML file is, we don't need to add any folder path to it. Just typing style.css will do. There are two more things which we need to mention, and that is something called as type, which basically is a text file /css, and a relation attribute which specifies that this particular CSS file is the style sheet which we'll be using for our website. So again, for adding an external CSS file we use the link tag, which has three different attributes. Href is the location of the CSS file, relation to the file which is the style sheet, and the type of the file which is text/css. So now when I save this, let me change the background again, let's say black this time, so that we get a distinction. and now when I refresh the page we get a blank black background. So basically we have covered all the three different styles of adding CSS to the website. The first one was the inline style where we added the cyan color inside the body tag itself. The second one was the internal style where we added the style tag with the CSS rule in it, and the third style or the third way to do it is the external CSS wherein we create another file and we link that file using the link tag to our website.